So we're at the lane, and I'm pretty deep, so I had to hop over this big wall of white water. I wasn't really worried about it hitting me or the one behind me, but when I got off over it, I see this wave at the slot, and it's pretty steep, like really steep. 7-foot frothy wall, and I'm just trying to hug the pocket as much as I can, and then I go up to hit it after a bit, and it's just it doesn't end well. Like this lip, it's just this thick lip built up, and then when I roll up, I'm pretty much full of water. So I'm pulling my belt. Like there's another wall of white water about to get. I have just enough time to get a breath, get under it, and that brings me up and out of the boat. Like the boat's being pushed away from me at this point. I don't really think I could have got to it, so I'm just heading towards the kelp. And the kelp is going to lead me towards deep water where the wave isn't breaking, so I have to duck a couple waves in order to get out to it. So I'm swimming here, and I can't even see my boat anymore. Not really thinking much about the boat, to be honest. Like I just wanted to get out of there. I wasn't worried about the boat either. Like I figured the water patrol would pick it up. Or the current would flush it out. Like it was somewhat high tide, so I wasn't too concerned about it, but I don't know, I guess I could have been. Eventually I see Edu paddling up along with Iban, and he tows me out of here. I grab on and we start swimming. I'm kicking as much as I can and using an arm to get us out. Like I'm completely fine, like I had no issues with the swim. It's just my skirt frickin' imploded. There's not much you can do about it when your skirt implodes. So eventually we get into deep enough water. I'm like right on the edge of the whitewater line here, so it would take a really wide wave to come get me. I make sure to signal to the shore to let them know okay. More so for like my family because they know the signals and stuff, to know what's going on, and I guess the organizers as well, to let them know I'm not injured, I'm okay. But I'm pretty much waiting here at this point. You can see the lifeguard. He jumps in right there because Edu is paddling over, and I guess he and Iban start going to get my boat. I remember being a little bit mad at them at first when they were doing that. Like they were kind of putting themselves in potentially of a tricky spot to get my boat. I mean, these guys had traveled all the way from Spain to like miles and hours, probably almost days to get to Santa Cruz, and they're using their heat time to go save my boat, which is, I'm thrilled about it, honestly. Like these guys, they came, they surfed hard. Like we were actually watching them on the webcam at one point at the rental house. It was the end of day 2, and the surf just turned on like after the competition, and they were out there until past dark, it looked like. And then they come here during this heat, and to have 2 of them like start pulling my gear out of the water, it's just awesome. Eventually I catch my breath, and I'm starting here to like swim back to my boat. It's kind of funny, I was a little tired at the moment, but I saw this wave and I was going to try to body surf it. It just seemed like a good idea, and I kind of remember thinking, I wonder if anybody has ever body surfed a wave during the kayak competition. Would that count for points? I don't know. And the jet ski shows up. I think they were at the B-side earlier, and they first drove away from me, which I was a little bit confused about. But I think they were going to pick up their lifeguard first, who was close to the rock and in more of a dangerous spot, to check on him before they came and like helped me out or anything.
Hoff. Yeah. Thank you. Go have fun. Oh yeah.
So Edu and Iban, they head back out to the heat. In that heat, I forget who won. It was either Edu or Iban. They were, all 3 of us were trading off wins to the contest. Like I think I had like 4 or 5 heats with Edu maybe even more than that, honestly, over the course of the weekend. It was kind of ridiculous, in between HP and IC. But I'm swimming back to my boat, and I can see my paddle too, which is helpful. And my boat's floating, which is a great sign that it didn't hit rocks. Right there, the lifeguard, he asked me if I hit the rocks, and I said no. Shook my head, grabbed on as high as I could on the ski, and just went along. I think I'm kicking my legs too, being a goober.
Well, at least you didn't hit the rock there. Was that 3? That's 2.
So right there, the 5-minute bell goes off, and I'm thinking, like, oh shoot, I still have time to make it back, like, barely. And make sure the paddle's here, and look over the boat real quick. Boat looks like it's fine. So I start getting ready to get back in the boat, and I'm kind of laughing now. Like, I'm sitting here telling him, like, can you straddle this? Like, I'm going, man. I'm in. Like, let's do this. So I'm getting back in, and we start kind of laughing about the belt. I noticed a little bit of damage too on the boat. It's nothing bad, just gel coat. But yeah, we're laughing about the boat, how it's like sketchy. I'm wearing a belt and stuff. It's just kind of funny. The lifeguards somewhat appreciate that I want to like get out there and go, so they're being pretty helpful here actually. For the water safety guys, it's awesome. Really appreciate it, picking me up. Now I'm back in the boat, and my paddle's just right over there. So I'm like swimming over with my hands, no big deal. I grab the paddle, and I don't look back at all. I'm over here almost to the surfer statue. So in Santa Cruz, at the point, the lighthouse, Steamer's Lane, if you will, it's a long break, and that's one of the huge draws to this place, is it's such a long break. But because of that, it's so long of a paddle back out too. So I just start booking it, like giving it everything I can to paddle back. And I'm in like a little short boat, so I don't really go very fast. But I started out pretty close to the statue, and right here I get caught in kelp, and I'm just like struggling, and they're like, no, I'm pulling at it and trying to get through, which is kind of funny. I think I get caught on it one more time too. But it's a long paddle. Like, it'll take you about 5 minutes to paddle back sometimes, especially if there's like big wind and big swell. It's a long paddle, especially in these short boats. In the IC boat, it's not that bad, but in high performance, it's this little 7-foot boat, and you can see how much the bow is rocking too, back and forth. The boat's not really going anywhere. But I'm really just trying to dig deep and keep going. I've been training so hard to like do well at this competition and maybe do well in the series, and I really want it, so I'm just giving it everything I can. And I think right here too, I see Eddie on just this great wave, and I see him again. I'm putting my head down, just like, oh, go. And the 5-minute bell went off probably like 4 minutes ago at this point, so we're like close to being done, and I'm just like, no, I want at least one more wave, really. But I'm realizing there's a little bit of a problem in the boat. I don't have foot blocks or foot pegs in the kayak. I have I have foam blocks, like a foam bulkhead in the front, and that apparently was ripped out when I swam. So I'm a little bit loose in the boat, actually a lot bit loose. I'm noticing that I have nothing to push my feet against. So trim is going to be very difficult. Like me figuring out how much lean I can go forward or backwards. The feel of the boat is quite different without having that. I've got a belt on, and I've my skirts on, and I've got like the thigh braces and stuff, so I'm not too concerned about like coming out of the boat, but I didn't really think much about it. I kind of was thinking like, yeah, I got this. I can totally do this. I've surfed these waves hundreds of times at this place. I'll pick a good one, and then I'll be okay with that. And I'm looking around, trying to figure out like where can I go, where can I get a wave, and I see Yvonne starting paddling for the slot. And looking back on it now, a slot wave I don't think I could have been able to handle. Slot waves are pretty steep. But he's heading over that way, and I can see a little bit of something on the horizon, and you can barely see it on the video too. But I figure, okay, right about here, there's typically a wave that comes in that's just freaking awesome. It lines up and goes for days, and I actually like managed to score one of these. And you can look and like how steep that is just going down the way. And I just can't take it. I'm so tired. I eat it, and I'm like paddling in right as the buzzer goes. And then of course like the set starts rolling through right after the end of the heat. Like everything's coming through. Like you can see there's one, two, and probably a couple more behind it. I think 3 and 4 probably. But these waves, they're not small. Like you can see the little speck that's Zach in the left over there. Like these are probably like good 7 or 8 foot, maybe 10 waves. Really hard to say with the GoPro because the GoPro doesn't really give you the best like vantage point. And then pretty soon here the battery dies. It was actually right there, which is just ridiculous timing. But you can see the wave right here. It's just frothy beast, and I'm a little bit late in coming up to hit it. And you can see that the lip is just thick and not really able to get through it. And I almost get enough rotation, but right there I actually bounce sideways. Overall, I think it was a really good experience. I had never had a big swim before, and this one was pretty big. It was high tide and large waves. My decision making was fairly good. I was happy with it. I was safe throughout my decisions. I abandoned my boat, which I'm not thrilled about, but I was safe for me. But swims, they're not that bad as long as you have a good team. Like the jet ski was a huge help, and the Basques. I can't thank the Basque teams enough. Thanks, Edu, and thanks, Iban. You guys are great.